Mr. President. On his 47th day as president, Joe Biden signed an executive order directing the head of every federal agency to submit a plan for their agency to promote voter registration and voter participation. The problem is that the order also mandates that all federal agencies partner with approved third-party organizations to provide these services on federal agency property across the nation. Determining which...
Can we have order, please?
Mr. President, determining which third-party organizations will be approved by whom and based on what criteria is missing from the order. In spite of congressional oversight attempts and Freedom of Information Act lawsuits, the Biden administration has refused to release copies of these agency plans. The prospect of the Biden administration writing their own rules and using taxpayer money to partner with liberal get-out-the-vote organizations is wildly inappropriate. As a matter of principle, I don't believe that the federal government should be using official taxpayer resources to advance partisan politics. Further, mandating that every federal agency engage in election engineering on the taxpayer's dime raises serious ethical and legal concerns. Simply put, this executive order is further weaponization of the federal government's power to boost one side of the aisle over another. My amendment would defund this ethical and legally dubious scheme and restore faith in our elections. I yield the floor.
Yes, the senator from Illinois.
Interesting in our democracy, two different political parties and two different attitudes toward registration and voting. Many of us on this side of the aisle believe that expanding the number of voters makes the democracy stronger, and so does President Biden. And his executive order was a message to the agencies: help where you can to help for voter registration and to make sure that voting is accessible to Americans across the board. Example, they decided that VA health facilities would be registration sites for disabled veterans. Does that sound like some radical idea? It sounds to me like common sense. That's the kind of thing we should support, and I urge my colleagues to vote against this amendment.